Hey everybody, welcome to another ActionFeatures.net Toy Talk review. Continuing our NECA Planet of the Apes reviews, here's Dawn of the Planet of the Apes Series 1 Koba. Clamshell packaging that you've seen in the other reviews. You got to cut it out to get him out of there. Once it's cut out, that's pretty much all there is to it. There's a paper insert behind that has the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes logo and pictures of Caesar and Koba with all these red markings. A little insert that tells you this is Koba. Koba is, of course, right there, and he's all twist-tied inside. His staff, just like Series 1 Caesar, is split in two pieces that you then put together because it's such a large staff it would not fit as one piece inside this packaging. You can see one of his extra hands there, and the other one tucked down below that insert. The back of the card features other figures from the Series 1 wave. Caesar, there's your Koba, and there's Maurice. We've got this red and white and black motif with the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes logo, and a blurb telling you, hey, collect them all. Alright, there he is one more time from the front before we take a look at him loose. And here we have Series 1 Koba out of the box. Alright, let's talk about his extra hands and his accessory before we move on to the figure itself. Just like Series 1 Caesar, Koba comes with two sets of hands. We've got his gripping hands going right now. He also comes with a more relaxed, knuckles towards the ground hand sculpt. And just like Caesar, since these are both war paint versions, there's a nice white paint app that's kind of washed over these to give the feeling of that war paint. And like I said with the Caesar review, if you get your hands confused between this and Caesar, just keep in mind that Koba has the black fur on his hands, and you'll see that white paint wash. So you'll be able to distinguish these hands from Caesar's, since Caesar's have no fur on the hands. His other hands, which I have in right now, are his gripping hands. The right hand feels like it's a bit more open than the left hand is. It's got sort of a more ready to grip the staff look to it. Whereas the left hand is a pretty tight grip, and you got to kind of work to get another end of the staff into there. Speaking of that staff, just like the Series 1 Caesar, the Koba staff comes in two pieces, and mine's feeling kind of tight where it bonds together. Give me 1 second, let me see if I can, there it goes. It comes in two pieces because it's so long it won't fit in the box if it was all one solid piece. And just like Caesar's, it has a notch inside, or a notch kind of cut, a groove cut into one section, and there's a little peg inside the part where you insert the staff into it. So you got to make sure that those match up before you're trying to plug this together, because otherwise you might crack that peg off. There's a nice paint app on this staff. It's got a black stone at the end, these brown wrappings, and then that sort of that bamboo-y type look to it with a nice wash over it. The accessories, both this and the staff that came with Caesar, are really well painted. The staff that comes with the Koba, though, especially, has a really nice variation in color between different parts with that black stone and these reddish-brown wraps. Really, really nice accessory. Alright, the articulation on Koba. Just like with it's pretty much the same as Caesar's if you already watched the Caesar review, but just to reiterate everything here, he's got a ball-jointed ankle, he's got a hinged knee. I'm going to back this camera up just a bit so we can see everything. He's got a hinged knee that where it inserts into the thigh is at a swivel. These are a little tight, the knees on mine are. It takes a little bit of work to get everything going. If you feel like your joints are tight on yours, you may want to dip them in hot water first, just to get that paint freed up. You don't want to take the chance of cracking anything if you try and force it too much. The hip, as I explained on Caesar, is kind of interesting in that it's got the swivel at the top of the thigh where it inserts onto this ball joint, and then it's got so it swivels where it inserts into the thigh, and then there's a ball joint in between which has a hinge on it, and that inserts into the pelvis area, and that swivels. So you got to kind of work to get that hinge in the right spot sometimes to be able to do the up and down leg and the in and out leg. It takes a little work and a little maneuvering to get things to work right, but it's a good trade-off between hiding that joint and having this big ugly ball joint sticking out. He's got the mid-torso swivel, which is pretty covered by his fur, but it isn't hindered, it's just really nicely covered. He's got a swivel shoulder that also hinges out. He's got swivel elbows where it meets into this lower arm that also hinges up and down. He's got the ball-jointed wrists where they're switchable onto that little ball area. And then he's got a ball-jointed neck. It doesn't have quite the same range of movement that Caesar's had, but you could still get some nice turning poses and a little tiny bit up and down. It's just not the same range that Caesar had. He also is always going to have the more hunched over look because the sculpt itself is sculpted to be more hunched over because that's the way Koba was as opposed to Caesar was. Speaking of the sculpt is so nice. I mean, it's so nice. You've got all these nice little scarred details which are kind of covered by the war paint, but you can still see that they're sculpted in there. And the back, it has great sculpting on his scars. We've got this big, like, burned area, tufts of missing fur here and there. The back of the arm, we've got a big chunk of missing fur there. And all this stuff is just really well sculpted and painted. It just gives the feeling of a thin fur over the arms. I know that's more the paintwork, but all the scars and such like that, you can just really see where they've sculpted it into there and not just painted it on there. And the paintwork on mine was pretty impeccable. I didn't notice any giant glops or really stray areas or anything like that. The paint job may not be quite as nice as Caesar's was, but it is still really remarkable that this is a mass market figure that's painted this well. All right, let's take a look at a few comparisons here, just like we did with old Caesar. I'm going to put him back. Actually, he's standing pretty well. I don't really need to put him on the stand. Here he is next to the Series 1 Caesar, which would be both war paint versions. In case you're going to get one war paint version, it would make sense to get another war paint version to go with him. So this is the Caesar you'd probably buy if you were just going to buy this version of Koba. So there's those two guys are together. Ooh, almost lost him. Then we'll take a look at him next to the original Hiya Toys Koba, which is much smaller and doesn't have quite the nicely sculpted details that this new NECA version has. These guys just are not wanting to stand for me today. Yeah, we got to hunch him over quite a bit to get him in there. Then we'll put him next to, let's see here, General Ursus, so you can see how he compares to a classic Apes figure. Bring that up just a little bit so you can see them all. There we go. And last but not least, let's take a look at him next to the Series 2 Koba figure, which is the straight-up no war paint version, and it's got the angrier face, like the yelling face. Again, just like with Caesar, I actually kind of prefer the sculpts on these a little more than the yelling version, just because you're getting a little bit more of display versatility when you've got the more stoic, just normal face as opposed to the yelling face. But either way, both of these sculpts are fantastic. We'll talk about this one more when we get to that review, but just wanted to show you what they look like next to each other. Alright, so there's one last view of Koba before we take him over to the couch and finish off the review. Right. Hey everybody, and welcome to another one of our Planet of the Apes reviews. All three boys here on the couch to give our final thoughts on the Series 1 Koba figure. Packaging is the same as we looked at on Caesar, which was our first video of this bunch. I think we all agree that we prefer the open and closed package.
Yes.
It doesn't matter as much to you guys, because you just check the packaging anyway.
Yeah.
But for me, I do like to put stuff back in sometimes.
Keaton has a package, though.
I do.
Oh, yeah?
I keep it. A package.
I keep it.
Oh, that's cool. I do like the packaging art and the little nods here and there, like the symbol we talked about in the first one. I like that it shows the other figures in the line. That's cool, but I just wish it opened and closed. Accessory-wise, we've got a giant staff this time around.
Yeah, I love that staff.
It's huge.
Is it way bigger than him?
Yeah. It's a lot bigger than Caesar's.
Here, compare.
There's Caesar's staff. It's a lot bigger.
Why would he have a bigger one?
Maybe he just carried a bigger staff.
Where does it split?
Where does it split apart? It splits apart right here. Mine's a little tight, so I don't want to try and pull it apart because I'm afraid of breaking it.
Does it look like in your other package? Can I see?
Split apart? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there it is.
Yeah, it's split apart. When you get it together again, don't try and take it back apart because you might end up splitting it. You gotta be careful with it. Keaton's a split.
Yeah.
So I can glue it for you, but he actually likes it because it feels like two sticks now.
Yeah.
Right? So just be careful with that. Putting it together and be careful that when you're moving it around and posing it and stuff like that, you don't want to crack it.
Well, I don't want to crack my other one.
No. The paint artwork on this is really cool too. You got a nice black stone thing at the end.
Yeah, it's really
The
cool.
wraps have a nice paint app all over them. I like this staff better than Caesar's.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool
Yes.
staff.
I would actually trade the staffs.
Oh, for Caesar's?
Because he's the more, you know.
Yeah. That's true. He's like the leader guy.
Yes.
As far as extra hands go, I think he comes with, let's see here. Yeah. He comes with, like, he's got his sort of open hands on in the package, and then he's got more grippy hands that you can switch out for. And I have on one grippy and one open right now.
One grippy and one open?
Yeah, see, like, and I love the way that hands are sculpted because the monkeys a lot of times do that thing where they
hang on the trees.
Yeah, and well, they walk with like their knuckles down,
yeah.
type of thing going on. So both the hands that are kind of open have that look going on, where they're got sort of the knuckles out.
I wish they made a whole play set.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like a forest.
That would be really awesome.
Yeah, and I wish they had hands that would swing.
Yeah, that would be really neat. Like if they had made like clips they could put the figures on, that'd be really cool.
If there were some like just kind of the size of like Marvel Universe, you could really use the Wicket.
Oh yeah, you could use this.
If there were
you could if they were that size. You could almost put them on there anyway. trees are different sizes.
What's the wiki?
Wicket, the Ewok Forest.
Oh, I meant Ewok.
Yeah, everybody knew what you meant, though. It's fine. Okay, so there are 2 different Kobas. We're talking about the Series 1 Koba with the war paint, just like the Series 1 Caesar has the war paint. And just like Series 1 Caesar, he has the more stoic face, the sort of just kind of type of face. The Series 2 Koba has a I'm going to scream at you face, but he has no war paint.
Right.
So that's the trade-off. If you want a normal expression, you get the war paint versions. If you want an angry expression, you get the non-war paint versions.
Yes.
Again, I kind of prefer the non-angry expressions.
Both of them.
For both of them. So I like the non-angry expression again here, but I would like him without war paint. So it's a trade-off, and getting both series versions makes sense.
My thought on this is different than Caesar. I would prefer that one. There's just because all the scars Koba has, there's just something about that look with the war paint. I prefer that war paint figure.
Oh, you like the war paint version better? Okay.
And I really like the eyeball.
Yeah, his eyeball's really cool. It's painted well. It's almost like it's almost whited out.
Yeah, it is.
The paintwork on these, we talked about on Caesar, it's just incredible.
Right.
For being just like mass market figures. The eyes are glossy. Yeah, his eye, where he's got that messed up eye, you can see it's messed up. The paint looks like real paint over there.
Do you know where it came from?
Well, from being abused, remember? He was
What's
In the lab.
well, the lab scientists did all those things.
okay,
He's got all the scars.
Well,
Human
the first time they got them, he had that eye.
Yeah, I know, because he'd been a lab animal before that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he'd been a lab animal for a while. So that's why he's got all these scars. And all the scars are really well handled on the figure. You get like a sort of bumpily burn mark back here, missing fur here and there. Really cool detailed sculpt on all that.
Nice.
Koba is such a cool looking monkey that,
He's awesome.
yeah, he's just really, really neat.
Whoa, look at his neck, though.
Yeah, it's cool. It's got like a mix of fur and the skin that's showing through the fur, or he's got all the missing bits. The ears all messed up.
Did it lab on there?
I would say, yeah, all his scars came from the lab. But remember the movie?
Yes.
So the war paint version, again, it's neat in that you can still see all this stuff through the sculpt, but the war paint is kind of covering up a little bit of the scars, I would think, as compared to the non-war paint version.
I think if they have that.
Yeah, you'd probably see it more on the non-war paint.
Well, we kind of see right there.
Yep, you can see all the details in the sculpt there for sure.
Yes.
Overall, really cool, and definitely a cool companion piece to have with Caesar.
Yeah.
So you can have more of the beginning of the movie versions of Caesar and Koba together, and then later on, for the later part of the movie, you can do the non-war paint versions together. If you haven't seen the movie, see the movie, and then you'll know more
About
what we're talking about
Yes.
there. And so it's really, as some people are complaining that we got 2 Caesars and 2 Kobas.
I'm not.
I'm not either, because
Those are two.
that's
very
the 2
major.
very major characters in the
And,
film.
Like you kind of want both designs. You're like,
Exactly.
okay, you just get in one. You're like, okay, I want to reenact that scene. I have nothing to reenact it with. If you just get that one, you're like, okay, I want it without it. You have to have the 2 together.
Exactly. It would be like doing Empire Strikes Back Luke Hoth and not doing any other Luke from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, like
You know what I
best
mean?
for
Like,
Luke.
yeah, exactly. You want multiple versions because he goes through a journey throughout
Right.
the film, and that's the same with these characters. Yes, they're the apes, but they go through a journey.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna want multiple versions of these characters. And yeah, of course, I would love to have Rocket, and I'd love to have Blue Eyes and Ash, but I would want both versions of these characters too. Like, I'm just because we got them one wave after another doesn't mean I don't want them.
Well, I got Maurice, which is my favorite monkey besides those 2. I mean, I don't have him personally, but they made him, so.
Yeah, Maurice is cool and Luke is cool. So you got
Yeah.
2 extra monkeys. I would like the other ones too, but if they don't happen, they don't happen.
Luke
You
might
can
get their
pretty
movie,
much-
we might have a chance.
Maybe, yeah.
You can pretty much get Blue Eyes. If you just got the not war paint Caesar, you can just color him.
That would be a lot of work to turn him into it. It's a good idea, but it'd be a lot of work to turn him
You
into...
just need
the Blue Eyes.
red and blue.
But he looks different still. So it'd still take some work. I like your idea, though. It would take some work to turn him into there. I would just hope that eventually someday they'll maybe he'll be in the 3rd movie,
Yeah.
and they'll find a way of bringing him out.
Yeah.
So I love this figure. I won't have anything bad to say across the line. I like
Yeah.
all of the Dawn figures. I think
Yeah.
they're all great. As far as only choosing one Koba to have, it would be
I have
tough
to
for me
go
to
with
pick,
that.
but
I have to
I
go
would
with
have to go with
that.
this one too. I'd have to go with the war paint versions from Series 1 as opposed to Series 2
I'll go
versions.
with the second one.
You like the second one? Well, that's
Yeah,
cool. I
it's
mean, we all
awesome.
can have a different opinion. I would recommend getting them both, but
Yeah.
especially if you're gonna get Series 1 Caesar, you should really get Series 1
It's
Koba.
not gonna make that much sense if you don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
it
they
still
both have
makes
those
sense.
stabs
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So they make a good display together.
Well, there was that one scene, if you just want to kind of do the middle of the movie, Koba, I'm not going to say what he's doing, but he kind of went off from the group, wasn't wearing war paint, and then Caesar was out with the more human.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And I guess, did he have more pink on there in
No.
that part? I can't remember.
Because
He does.
I don't
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, we don't ruin anything from the movie.
Right.
It's just now out on Blu-ray and
Right.
stuff, so people got to see the movie. All right, so if you want to check out a gallery of pictures for Koba, hit the info section below and it'll take you to a link to a gallery. And stay tuned to the channel for more of our Planet of the Apes reviews. It's going to be an ongoing segment to go with all our Batman reviews and stuff like that, and then Turtle reviews, whatever, since we have the Ape Collector right here. All right, so we're going to sign off on this one, and we'll see you guys next time.